Good morning and welcome back to Margin. This morning we're going to talk about the proven tools to master the defense of wealth preservation. This is a 3-part series and this is part 1. So let's jump right into it. So Webster defines defense as the act or action of defending. So with that, when you are looking at defending or holding the line when it comes to your personal finances, that means that you are making sure not to lose ground, not to lose yardage when it comes to protecting what you've accomplished thus far. And so with that, it's important for you to be mindful of resisting attack, being on the defense when it comes to your personal finances, so that something doesn't take that savings out, doesn't cause a undue threat to you, your livelihood, or your family. And so what we're going to jump into today is talking about holding that line, looking at your personal finances from a standpoint of what aspects do you need to make sure that you are holding the line on, that you are actively working on defending. So there are many aspects of life that threaten our ability to defend, threaten our ability to hold that line. And especially as our incomes increase and our lifestyles expand, we want to make sure that we're covering the bases, that we are watching out for those areas we may be susceptible to. So we have heard that the best defense is a good offense. So with that, we are going to be going over both the defense and the offense in this series, mainly because one cannot be separated from the other. You need to focus on your defense, on holding the line, but you also need to be able to take ground. You need to know what steps need to be taken in order to build and grow what it is that you have thus far. So in evaluating your defense, it's going to be important for you to look at, okay, what season of life am I in? Am I single? Am I dating someone? Am I married? Or am I married with kids? I mean, what does your lifestyle look like? And what level of defense do you need to make sure you have in place? So someone who is single may be able to stretch that a little bit more, may be able to not have so many defense mechanisms put in place because they're only protecting themselves and not their spouse and their families. And so something to keep in mind is looking at, okay, what season of life am I in? And being sure that, okay, do I have the proper defense in place based on the seasonality that I'm operating in? So this topic on defense can be challenging, mainly because so many people have operated in a place of fear, in a place of uncertainty and unknown. And so they've gone into and signed up for various policies, various insurance policies that they may not have needed. And oftentimes when you step into this kind of a conversation with people, they get on the defense, and no pun intended, they get into that mode because oftentimes they've been sold by someone along the way that pandered to some kind of fear, some kind of unknown, some kind of unrest in them, and sold them something that they may not have needed. And so with that, it's so easy to jump right into, okay, well, you need to have a budget. You need to have a plan to spend. You need to have the proper policies in place, or you need to make sure that you are living within your means. I mean, there's a number of different defense aspects that we could go right into, but I think what's most important is to actually see where you're at today. So in light of margin and building in options into your life, it's important for you to have peace of mind. And so for some people, that peace of mind may be having less in savings than someone else, or maybe having a smaller life insurance policy than someone else. And so you have to look at what you are comfortable with, what makes sense for you. But in this defense mechanism or mode, it's important for you to know, okay, what are the key aspects I need to make sure I have in place? And then I can define and figure out, okay, do I want to have more or less of that? But making sure that I actually have some of those key aspects in place, no matter what the buy-in, the level of buy-in actually is. So it's important to have a balanced approach when you are looking at building a defense, making sure to hold that line. And when we are focusing in on a topic like margin, we are looking at how we can build margin into life, how we can build options into life, and making sure that ultimately when you are building your defense, you are building in peace of mind. Many times people don't have peace of mind because they don't know what they're supposed to have in place. They don't know what they don't know. And oftentimes that can lead to a lot of angst, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. And so they will run and get a policy for everything but the kitchen sink. And I don't believe that's the proper approach, because that reduces margin in your finances for saving and putting money away for other things. And so you have to be mindful about being balanced. So there are 3 primary categories that are important to focus on if you are truly going to build in a proper defense. So the first category comes down to building a plan to spend. Surprise, surprise. This is something that we talked about at the beginning of the last theme, looking at how to build in that budget, that dreaded budget. But the main thing I want to focus on is, okay, there's a reason why it's important to have a budget. It's important to have a plan to spend, because if you don't know what you're spending, you don't know if you're living beyond your means. You don't know if you're eating away at the defense that you have put into place intentionally. And that's why it's so important for us to focus on a plan to spend, not to be overbearing, not to be overly restrictive, but to live within parameters so that you can figure out, okay, what is the freedom that I have to put money, to put resources towards the things that really matter to me. So a plan to spend is critical to your financial life. It's critical to knowing where your money is going, to being able to tell your money where to go rather than wondering where it went and wondering if you are operating within your means or if you are burning through your savings. So the second category comes down to reserves. Reserves are put into place in order to protect you from the life events that can and will happen. And it's important for you to have some kind of reserves in place to protect you from having to go into debt if you have an emergency. So the purpose of this is to ideally have 3 to 6 months of living expenses outlined by your plan to spend, so that you can have those in a high yield savings account or something that beats inflation, so that you can tap into those reserves in the event that you have an emergency. So very streamlined, very straightforward. It's important to make sure that you make a priority to have those reserves in place to protect you from life events. If this information is helpful to you, explore the Margin membership, where me and my team will help you take the information you're learning and apply it to your life and your finances. I've built an interactive course that allows me and my team to come alongside people like you to help you revamp your finances and build margin into your life. Click the link in the description below for more information.